Hi, it's Paul Bauer, and welcome to this video on your optimal energy and health. In our last video, we talked about the power of emotions and how they drive our everyday thoughts, feelings, and experiences. In this video, we'll talk about how emotions contribute to our health and our well-being. Now, when we talk about emotions, let's review what are they first. In essence, they are the echoes of our thoughts felt throughout our body and our mind. So as we discuss the power of emotions, they drive our every thoughts, decisions, and actions that we take because they create the foundation of how we feel. In other words, in the background, our emotions are running all the time. They're coping with all the different things that are going on within our mind and our body. And in essence, they're also driving us in ways that we do not know consciously. Emotions are the keys to how we feel moment to moment. When we have thoughts, when we have feelings, when there are people that come into our lives, when there are stressors that we're sensing or feeling, whenever there's memories that are being replayed in our mind, there is one thing that holds them all together, and that one thing is our emotions. If you really want to be truly healthy in your mind and your body, you will love what you're about to learn in this video. Now in this graph, let's take a quick look at our stress levels and the amount of stressors that we confront on a daily basis. For most of us, the higher the stressors go, the more stress we feel. And there's a certain point that happens in our day or in a given moment when the number of stressors increases to such a point, and that point represented by this red line in this video, you will see that there's this thing called the overwhelm point. That's the point at which we literally start feeling stressed, but beyond normal stress. This is why we call it the overwhelm point. You're beginning to feel overwhelmed that you cannot handle any more stress. And in that moment, there's something that goes on within us that we're not even sensing because our unconscious mind takes care of the stress that we're having on the inside. Now, it doesn't mean that it necessarily goes away, but it starts processing it for us. So we'll keep this thing in mind as we go through the rest of this video, the concept of the overwhelm point. Now, let's discuss something called the mind-body connection. There are two kinds of thoughts that we have. In essence, we have peaceful thoughts and we have stressful thoughts. If you have peaceful thoughts, life is easy. You're in flow. There are essentially no problems in your life. But when stressful thoughts come along, you know it. You know how you feel. Now, sometimes they're not very frequent, and you can handle if they're just one by one. All thoughts are picked up and mirrored in the body. That's what emotions really are, if you remember the definition. Now, let's talk about how each kind, or the distinct kind of emotions, peaceful emotions are life-enhancing. Stressful emotions are just the opposite. They're life-depleting. In other words, they actually take up or soak or deplete your life energy. Now, let's discuss something called the HPA axis. What is it? And why is it so important to your health? The H stands for hypothalamus. It's one of the glands, one of the major glands in our body. Then there's the pituitary gland that you've heard much about. And then there's also the adrenal gland. This axis is very important as we go forward with the rest of this video to understand what this really means. In essence, when we're overwhelmed or stressed, the HPA axis is activated. Now, something unique about the HPA axis. When it's stressed, it gets turned on, yes, but it's not meant for long-term use. That's where the rub really kicks in. For many people who have had chronic stress, their HPA axis is active all the time or more frequently than it's ever intended to be. When you're overusing the HPA axis, and it's an unconscious thing, by the way, you feel tired, you feel burned out, you feel a lack of initiative, or sometimes the creativity just isn't there that you're expecting or hoping for. So what stresses the HPA axis? Fear. In essence, it's the fight or flight syndrome. It's irrational, it's unconscious, we don't think it, it's what we feel. It's when those stressors in our lives get too much. It could be one individual stressor, or it could be a combination of them. When we hit our overwhelm points that we talked about in that graph, the HPA axis is turned on. And if the stress isn't cleared, it builds up. and can cause a cascade of problems. So let's go back to something we talked about in video number 1, the emotional brain. It's in the center of the brain. It's also known as the limbic system. It's the key to the door to the subconscious. It helps process issues beyond what the mind can handle. It also handles overwhelm. That's where the overwhelm point is so important, because the emotional brain helps you handle or process those points of overwhelm. It also stores stress. And this is very important to remember this, in what's called cellular memory. In other words, it stores it throughout your body. Now, it's a good thing because you don't have to handle the stress right away. But the bad thing is that if it stores it, it's also hard to even detect that it's been stored in your body. That's the real key. So the emotional brain is also the gateway to your subconscious and to the entire body. So let's talk about how to deal with some of these emotions and the power of accepting your feelings. Acceptance, when you really think about it, is the willingness and openness to feel your feelings with no judgment. When you allow yourself to feel your feelings and not judge them, you allow the energy behind the feelings to flow freely and release them. Once you've opened the flow by accepting the feeling, the energy that was once stuck or stagnant begins to flow normally. Stress dissolves normally. You feel lighter. Acceptance doesn't mean that you have to agree to continue with the person or the issue that appears to cause you the stress. What it means is that you let go of any resistance to the feelings. That's the real key. It means that you let go of any resistance to the feelings you feel about the person or the issue. According to experts like Dr. Bruce Lipton, over 85% of all health issues are due to unresolved emotions. And Dr. Lissa Rankin states, when your body feels a stress event, your body's self-maintenance and self-repair functions come to a screeching halt, especially if you've hit overwhelm point. Now, if you have any health issues of any kind, or if you're concerned about your health, you can see the significance of how important this really means, that when emotions build up and they don't have an exit, or you feel overwhelmed and you're not sure what to do about it, it also affects the self-repair functions, in other words, your immune system, and your rejuvenating systems of your mind and your body. That free flow of energy contributes directly to your energy and your health. Another word for energy is qi. You've heard me talk about it before in many different webinars and videos that we've talked about before. This is the symbol for qi in Chinese. You don't need to know this by memory, but it's just kind of helpful to know that there is a specific symbol for the word qi. And there's a short formula that captures what I'm talking about. Unresolved emotions equals stuck energy. On the other hand, when there's free flow of emotions, you feel inner peace and vibrant health. It's that simple. When you free your emotions, you free your life. When you have open qi, you have optimal health and energy. Your energy flows. You feel young again. You feel like you've got energy. You've got creative energy. It doesn't matter what you need to do because you've got the energy to do it. So let's talk about feelings a little bit. There are direct benefits to paying attention to your feelings and knowing how to breathe into them and accept them, because when you do, stress automatically dissolves. All you've got to do is breathe into any challenge or problems that you might face. But for some of us, that's not enough. The result of when you do tune in and you accept your feelings is clarity and focus and inner peace and energy. That's where essential oils come in. You've heard me talk about them before in previous videos. In our next video, I'm going to share with you how you can use essential oils to clear even the most difficult issues and challenges you've ever faced. So thanks for watching this video, and until the next video, aloha to you.